Hi guys. In this video, we are going to do test two and yeah, let's get into it. So question one, they're saying that demand is the quantity of goods. Okay, so you have to remember that for demand, right? For consumers to demand something, you have to demand something because you want it, and also you are able to buy it. You can afford it, right? So you have to buy something because you want it and you are willing and able to actually buy it, right? You can afford something. You can't demand something that you can't even afford, right? You have to demand something that you can afford, right? And we say that there's demand has a purchasing power attached to it, which is basically the price. So now the question is saying demand is the quantity of goods desired by consumers. Yeah, we can say that because we're saying that you demand something because you want it, right? You desire it. So this might be correct. Number B saying that ordered by consumers in a particular period. Okay, now we're no longer demanding something if we're now ordering it. So I think B is wrong. Consumers are willing and able to buy at a particular price in a particular period. So I think the correct answer here, okay, C is correct. Because remember I said that you demand something when you are willing and you are able to actually buy it. So the answer here is C. The consumers require in order to survive. Okay, I'm not sure about D, but C is the correct answer. If we require something in order to survive, there would be a need, right? We wouldn't be just demanding that particular item, but we will be needing it. So I think D is incorrect. So the correct answer is C. So in a particular year, a major flood devastated coffee plantations in all in all other in all other factors. If all other factors remain the same, which is ceteris paribus, the supply curve of coffee will shift in the direction. Okay, let me just show this one. So they're saying that, so you have something like this. Okay, this is your demand, this is your supply, and then you have your price and your quantity here. So they're saying that in a particular year, a major flood devastated coffee plantation. So the floods devastated coffee plantation. So will this affect or demand or supply? Okay, they told us it's the supply curve. Okay. If all factors remain the same, the supply curve of coffee will shift to the direction. So remember, supply, when it shifts the side, it is increasing, and when it shifts the side, it's decreasing. So now, because there's a flood, this flood is going to, this determinant of demand is what? Um, Coffee plantation, these would be the inputs, right? So it would be the determinant of wood supply, which is the price of factors of production and other inputs. This one, coffee plantations, because let me just assume they need these plants in order to what? To produce their final product, which is what? The coffee. So if now the inputs which is needed in the production process has been devastated. So let's just say it's has been devastated. How is it going to affect our supply? So obviously, because now the coffee plantations have been devastated, it basically means that our production is going to decrease, right? Our supply is going to do what? To decrease. And supply increase on that side, on the right side, on the right hand side, and it decrease on the left. So now, because it's decreasing, means the supply will shift this side like this. Right. So downward direction, no. Rightward direction, if it goes to the right, it will be increasing. So our production here, our supply will not increase because of this, but it will decrease. So B is also not correct. C, leftward. So leftward is correct because the supply is going to do what? To decrease, right? And when it goes to it decreases where on the left, right? So the answer here, the answer here is C. D is definitely incorrect. So let's continue. The diagram below shows the market for hamburgers. So you can see here, Guti, the equilibrium price is 40 and the equilibrium quantity is 130, right? But what are we noticing here is that there is also another price of 35 rand. So this price is what? Is the maximum price or the price ceiling because it is below the what? The equilibrium price. And you know that if when you have the price ceilings bring what in the economy? Let me just use this color. It brings what? It brings, because you can see, because now there is a price ceiling here, which is below the equilibrium price, you can see that your quantity demanded will then increase, right? From 130 to 180, right? And your quantity supplied here on your supply curve will do what? Will decrease from 130 to 100. So what is happening now here? The quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied. So we have a shortage, right? So we have a shortage in the economy because less is being demanded and less is being supplied and more is being what? Demanded. People are demanding 180, but we're only willing to supply 100 units, right? So let's now see what the question is saying. Obviously now because there's this thing that has happened, we're going to experience a deadweight loss here, which is this gap here, right? When I experience a deadweight loss. Okay. Let's just but here if the price of hamburgers is fixed at 35 rand per burger, then so if the government then regulates its economy and introduce what's this maximum price or price ceiling, what is going to happen? So I've already said the quantity supplied will decrease. It will come here. You can see your supply is here. So your quantity supply will move from 130 to 200, and your quantity demanded will move from 130 to 180. This basically makes sense. Obviously, as consumers, if the price is decreasing, we're demanding more, right? So more is going to be demanded. And I just say there's going to be what? A shortage in the economy because the quantity supplied is only 100 and what is demanded is 180. So there's a shortage. So a shortage of how much? You just say 180 minus 100, you get 80. So the shortage is 80. So now let's just read here from the options that we've been provided to find the correct answer. Okay, ish. Okay, so they're saying here, there will be a surplus of 80 hamburgers. Okay, so we wouldn't have a surplus here. If we have a maximum price or a price ceiling, we don't have a surplus, but we have a shortage. So number A is not correct. It is misleading though, because you would just say 180 minus 100, and you see what's okay, the difference is 80. So this one is correct, but it is not because they think that it's a surplus. But here we actually have a loss because more is being demanded. You see, your demand is here, right? So the quantity demand is 180, but the quantity supplied is here is 100. So we actually have a shortage in the economy. So A is not correct. So number B, there will be a shortage of 50 hamburgers. Okay, there will be a shortage, but not of 50 hamburgers. How did they get this 50? Let me just see. 180 minus 130. Okay, so if you say 180 minus 130, you would get 50, which is wrong also. Like, yeah, it's not correct. So number B is not correct. Because in order to calculate a surplus or a shortage, you have to calculate from looking at the new quantity demanded and the new quantity supplied. But now they still use this quantity here, the equilibrium quantity, which is not correct. So B is also not correct. Number D, the quantity of hamburgers supplied will fall to 0. Okay, they will not fall to 0 because you can see Uti supply is here. So the quantity supplied will move from 130 to 100. So number C is also wrong. Obviously, the answer is D. Okay, let's just see what D say. There will be a shortage of 80 hamburgers. Yes, there will be a shortage. Remember, I said that because this is your profit maximization, or sorry, not profit maximization. It's the price maximum price or the price ceiling, right? So you can see that here, the quantity demanded is now here at 180, and your quantity supplied is now here at 100, right? So you say 180 minus 100, you can see now that we have a shortage because less is being supplied, which is 100 units, but people are demanding more, which is 180. More by how much? By 80. So 80 is the surplus is the shortage that supply cannot meet, because only the quantity which is being supplied is what? Is 100, right? So D is the correct answer here. Okay, number 4, we're going to price elasticity of demand. So remember that when we're looking at the price elasticity of demand, we're basically measuring the responsiveness of the quantity demanded to a change in price, right? So, and we have different categories of price elasticity of demand. We have, I like to illustrate them by drawing this. So the different categories is so here we have 1, we have 0 here, then here we have infinity. Okay, so this is infinity, guys. Okay, let me just do it again. Infinity. Okay, let me just oh, but you guys, there's infinity here. Infinite. Okay, this one is better. So here we have perfectly elastic. So these are the categories of price elasticity of demand, of elasticity basically. So here we have perfectly elastic, and then here we have elastic. I'm just gonna write E. Here we have elastic, and then here we have unit for U, and then here we have inelastic. I'm gonna write I, and then here we have perfectly inelastic. So we say that perfectly inelastic when you get your answer to be 0, meaning that our consumers here, they do not react to a change in the price. They would purchase that product regardless of an increase in the price. So perfectly inelastic is like this. The curvier corner is like this. It's just what? It's just vertical, meaning that it is perfectly inelastic. So they can increase the price, but the consumers will still purchase this product at what? And demand what? 60 units. This is usually for addictive products, we say. And then you also have inelastic. So inelastic, consumers are also not that sensitive to a change in price. It's like this, right? So it's a bit closer to the y-axis. So meaning that you can see that if the price was here and the quantity was here, and then now the price was to increase, let me just use another color. And then if the price was to increase maybe to this, you can see the price increase. So you can see now that the price will increase by a greater percentage, but the quantity demanded will decrease by a smaller percentage. This is usually for goods which are necessities, right? So we say that consumers here, as much as they do respond to a change in price, but they are not that sensitive to changes in the price, right? So if the producer were to increase revenue here, they would have to increase the price, because even if they increase their prices to here, you can see now there's a greater change in the price, but the quantity which would be demanded, it will decrease by a smaller percentage, right? And then also have unit elastic. Basically now that is where we say 50-50. So if the price increased by 50%, the quantity will increase by 50%. So it's just like this, then 50%, 50%. That is unit elastic. There's nothing interesting about it. And then elastic. Elastic, now this is where we said with the consumers here, they do not react. Consumers are sensitive to price change here. They are sensitive to a change in price because elastic is like this, is further away from the y-axis. So if the price is here, right? If the price is here, and then if the price were to like decrease by a smaller percentage, like from here to, oh no, increase by a smaller percentage, like from here to here, there'd be a greater change in the quantity. Okay, I was trying to show a greater change here, but it didn't work. But for elastic, the price increases by a smaller percentage and there'll be a greater percentage change in the what? In the quantity which is demanded, right? The consumers are very sensitive to a change in the price for elastic goods. Oh, I forgot to say, if you get your answer to be between 0 and 1, that good has an inelastic demand. It's inelastic. And if you get your answer to be exactly 1, it is units. If you get your answer to be greater than 1, it is elastic. And then for price elastic, for perfectly elastic, the curve is just like this. It is horizontal like that. So meaning that the consumers here will purchase at any quantity, at any quantity here, but only if the price is maybe like 6 rand. So if you were to increase the price, your quantity will drop to 0. Or if you were to decrease the price, the consumers will only purchase this product when it is weighed at 6 rand, right? Okay. So for elastic goods, because I said that consumers here, they are very responsive to a change in price. For producers to make profit here, they would have to decrease the price. And then for inelastic to make profit, they would have to what? To increase revenue, I mean, they would have to do what? To increase the price. So what is the question saying, of Velela? It is saying that the price elasticity of demand measures, so it measures the responsiveness of a change in the quantity demanded to a change in the price. So the slope of the budget curve. No. Well, we don't even know what a budget curve looks like, so A is not correct. How often the price of a good changes? No. The responsiveness of the quantity demanded to a change in the price. So the answer here is C. Okay, how sensitive the quantity demanded is to a change in demand. A, this one was, I think it got me here when I was reading it at the beginning. And then they said to a change in demand. Then I was like, no, this is definitely not correct. So the answer is C. Okay, number 5. So number 5 is saying, let me just remove this. His answer there was C, right? Okay, number 5 is saying if the price elasticity of supply for a good is 0.55, the supply for the good can be described as, so remember I said that, okay, I have to draw that table again. I don't mind doing it again. Anything for you guys. Okay, so we have 0 here. Then we have 1 here. And then so you can see this answer is between 0 and 1. So here we have what? Inelastic. So this good is described as being what? Inelastic. So let's just try to look for the correct answer. Perfectly elastic? No. If it was perfectly elastic, the answer would be, I don't know what is the answer for perfectly elastic, but it is horizontal. If it is elastic, then the answer will be greater than 1. It will be greater than 1. If it is unit elastic, it will be equals to 1. Unitary. And then if it is inelastic, it is greater than 0 but less than 1. So you can see this one is greater than 0 but less than 1. So the correct answer here is what? It is D. Now let's continue. Question 6, they're saying that consider the following 2 figures below. Which one of the following statement below describe these figures? Describing these figures will you consider to be false? So figure A, we can see that this good here has a perfectly inelastic demand because obviously the curve is vertical, and also they're telling us here EP is equal to 0. So yeah, and then figure B, they're telling us EP is equal to 1. So this is unitary elastic demand. Unitary price elasticity of demand. Okay, I always forgot elasticities. So now you have to determine which one of the following statement is false. Okay, the figure A So this one depicts inelastic price elasticity of demand. True. True, guys, right? Because this is inelastic. The vertical demand curve illustrates that consumers are willing to demand a specific quantity of the good regardless of its price. Yes. So even if the price were to increase, consumers will still demand at this quantity here. So A is true. We're looking for the one which is false. The price elasticity of demand depicted in figure B, this one, would be most likely be associated with the maximization of revenue for the good demanded. Okay, I don't get that statement. Let's continue. A 10% increase in the price would result in the exact equal decrease in the quantity demanded, and therefore no price strategy will be able to increase revenue. Okay, so B is correct because remember I said this one is unitary elastic because it's equal to 1, right? EP is equal to, so the elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So meaning that if there's a 10% increase in the quantity demanded, there'll be a 10% decrease in the, sorry, if there's a 10% increase in the price, there'll be a 10% increase in the price, right? So this one is also correct because it's saying that a 10% increase in the price will result in an exact equal decrease in the quantity which is demanded. So B is also correct. And then number C, they're saying that um figure B, this one depicts a perfectly elastic demand curve. Okay. Yep. Perfectly elastic is like this. It's like this. It is horizontal. So figure B does not illustrate that, as it shows that consumers are perfectly sensitive to quantity demanded in relation to a possible price change. So this one is incorrect because figure B, guys, we just say because this one is illustrated with unitary um elastic unitary price elasticity of demand. Do you say that? But this is unitary. So perfectly elastic, no. Perfect elastic is this one. And then number D saying that the price elasticity of demand illustrated in figure A, this one, usually associated with the demand for necessities, yes, or goods that consumers require that satisfy their basic needs, such as medication, yes. So D is for necessities, meaning that if maybe like if you're taking your medication, you take um what 30%, like 30 quantities every month, regardless of whether the price is increasing, because that medication is a necessity to you, right? So the incorrect answer here is C, which is the correct answer for this question. Okay, number 7. An individual spends all their weekend testing various craft beers at a local brewery. According to the to, ec- to economic theory, the utility derived from this activity is best described as, so the satisfaction that they get from this the satisfaction that they get from doing what, from tasting various um beers, from tasting various craft beers at a local brewery is described as, so the satisfaction that they get will be described as what? Okay, let's just read. The frequency with which the individual consumes different types of craft beers, not the frequency. The utility derived from the activity is described as, we can't describe utility, the satisfaction, we can't describe it as a frequency. The total cost incurred in purchasing the various craft beers, no. The method by which the individuals optimize the use of craft beers over the weekend, the level of satisfaction or benefit the individual gains from experiencing different flavors of craft of beer. So the answer here is D. The answer here is D. Right, because these people are testing various craft of beers. So their utility will be derived from the level of satisfaction that they get as they now experience different flavors of craft beers. So the answer here is D. Question 8. Which one of the following is required for a consumer to experience diminishing marginal utility? So what is diminishing marginal utility? Remember, diminishing marginal utility, we basically say that as you consume more of a particular good, right? As you're consuming more of a particular good, your marginal utility starts to do what? To decline, right? As you're consuming more of a particular good, your total utility might be increasing, but it is increasing at a decreasing rate because your marginal utility, meaning that the satisfaction that you derive from the additional unit that you consume, is actually what's decreasing, right? So what is the question saying here? Let's see, which one of the following is required for a consumer to experience? So what is required for you to experience diminishing marginal utility? You have to consume more goods, obviously, because as you're consuming more and more, your marginal utility start to decrease, and that is when now we say that you're experiencing diminishing marginal utility. So let us read here. The consumer must be wealthy. No, no, you don't have to be wealthy. The good must be consumed in successive units during a specific time. Okay, so B might be the correct answer because to explain diminishing marginal utility, you have to consume um more and more of that particular good, right? As you're consuming more and more of that particular good, your satisfaction starts to do what? To decline. The good must be edible, not necessarily. The first unit consumed must yield very high marginal utility. Okay, so the answer here is B. So the first unit can yield a low marginal utility and the second one may yield a high marginal utility. So I don't know. This one is not correct. The answer here is just B. B makes sense because as you have to consume more and more of that particular good at a specific time. And then as you're consuming more of that particular good, your marginal utility, the satisfaction that you get from consuming the additional units will start to decrease, right? So B is correct. Number 9, cardinal utility theory assumes that consumers can. So remember, we have cardinal utility and what else? Ordinal utility. So cardinal utility, that is basically now where we're saying that we give your satisfaction a measure, right? We measure your satisfaction using utiles, right? So instead of saying that when you drank your first coffee, your satisfaction was high. When you drank your second coffee, your satisfaction was moderate. When you drank your third one, your satisfaction was low. We then give numbers to those high, moderate, and low. Those numbers are called what? Utiles, right? Yeah, so that we can be able to to do what? To measure your utility, the satisfaction that you get from consuming all those goods, right? The quantities of that particular good that you're actually consuming. That is cardinal utility. Basically means that we give your satisfaction numbers called utiles, right? And then for ordinal utility, we say that that is where now we rank a different combination of good according to preference, right? That is what ordinal utility. Is it ordinal utility or ordinal what? But ordinal, guys, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's cardinal utility and ordinal utility. I just checked here. So what do they want here? Cardinal utility theory assumes that consumers can. So rank, this one is wrong. You see, they're saying rank basket of goods according to their preference. So this one would be what, guys? I just said it now, and I didn't remember its name. Yes, ordinal utility. Where now we rank basket of goods according to their preference. So this one is not the correct answer. Number B, determine the number of utiles that can be derived from consuming all goods. So B can be the correct answer because in cardinal utility, we basically we're measuring your satisfaction, and then we give your satisfaction some numbers. Those numbers are called what? Utiles. And I see numbers here and I see utiles here. And they determine the number of utiles that can be derived from consuming all goods. So B might be the correct answer. Let's just read number C. Determine the marginal rate. I know. Let me just continue. Of substitution between goods. So this one is not correct. Not looking at the marginal rate and substitution between. No. Help consumers to make a choice of which commodity to consume. It does not really necessarily help to make a choice, but it be just like determining the number of your satisfaction, giving your satisfaction basically a number which is called utile. So the answer here is B for question 9. You must be able to differentiate between cardinal utility and ordinal utility. Question 10. If a consumer has spent all her income on two goods, right? So if you spend all your income on two goods, which good A and B, and we find that your marginal utility for good A over marginal utility for good B is equal to price for good A and price for good B, what can we conclude? What can we say about the consumer? So here, this is basically now where we say the consumer has maximized their satisfaction, right? Where your marginal utility for good A over marginal utility for good B is equal to the price for good A over price for good B. So they're saying number A, the consumer should purchase more A and less of B. No, there's no need to purchase more of A and less of B because the marginal utility is the of A divided by marginal of B is the same with the price of A divided by the price of B. The consumer should purchase more of B and less of A. No, the price of good A and B must be equal. The consumer cannot increase her utility. So the correct answer here is D, because the consumer has maximized her satisfaction. So there's no need to increase your utility, their satisfaction. So the correct answer here is D. And then we go to question B, longer discussion questions. Define the following concept, price ceiling. Okay, I can just show the price ceiling and you guys will decide how you're going to define this concept. But a price ceiling, remember I said this is where now you have your supply, you have your demand, right? And then you have your equilibrium price, and you have your equilibrium quantity. Then the government will come in and then set what? A price ceiling, which is also called the maximum price. Here, it is what? It is above the equilibrium price, right? And it is set by the government. So what is the price ceiling saying? With the price ceiling, the government is saying that these people can charge any price at, okay, let me just use a different color. This firm for these products, they can charge at any price from 0 up to here, but they cannot charge above this price, right? Basically, this is the government trying to make sure that this particular good, such as bread, for example, is affordable for everyone, right? Even the low income earners, they can afford this type of good. That is why the government will put a price ceiling here, or we call it a maximum price, right? So from that, guys, just try to explain this. What is a price ceiling again? So basically now it's one of the government controls where the government will set a price which is below the equilibrium price, right? To ensure that consumers can be able to afford this particular good, right? I don't know how you guys will explain that, but yeah. And then also explain the cross elasticity of demand, right? So for cross elasticity of demand, that is basically now where we're looking at two goods, right? We're looking at two goods and we're saying that it measures the responsiveness of a change in the quantity demanded for good A to a change in the price for good B, right? So we're looking at two goods can be it can be substitute good or it can be complement goods, right? So now we measure the change in the price for good A due to a change in the sorry, we measure the change in the quantity demanded for good A due to a change in the price for good B, which is a related good. It can be a substitute or a complement good. And then the law of diminishing marginal utility. So the law of diminishing marginal utility basically the one which say that as you're consuming more of a particular product or of a particular good, your total utility will increase, but at a decreasing rate, which is why your marginal utility will eventually decline, right? Because you're consuming more of this particular product, your marginal utility towards it declines because your total utility is actually increasing, but at a decreasing rate. Yes, I'm not explaining this too much today because I feel like I've explained these things. I just want you guys to get an idea of actually how you actually do it, of what you can do when you explaining these questions or answering these questions, right? Yeah. Consider the market for AI powered robot lawn mowers considered normal goods. So these products are normal goods. Remember, what we know about normal good is that for normal goods, if your price increase, the demand for these goods also increase. But sorry, if your income, your demand for normal goods also increase. While for inferior goods, if your income increase, the demand for inferior goods will decrease. Inferior goods, I usually say it's the quota that you buy from Boss Mike. So if you get your allowance, the first thing you do is you don't buy your quota. The demand for quota decrease because it is an inferior good. But the demand for pizza and KFC, it's increased because it's a normal good. So they're saying that yeah. And then depending on the scenario provided below, for each instance, illustrate what would happen to the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. Showcase these potential moves of the supply and demand curve on the set of axes for each question. On one set of axes for each question. Okay, so they want us to draw the graph. If I write here, will you guys be able to see? I just hope so. I'm gonna use this part. Right, I'm going to use this part. Ish has isn't add more. Okay, so let me just draw the. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. So this is our supply. This is our demand. And then this is the equilibrium quantity. And this is the, equilibrium price. And this is equilibrium quantity. So this is S, U. This is D. This is D. And this is S, the supply. Okay, so the question is saying here, a decrease in the availability of copper and cobalt, which are both key inputs. Okay, inputs here, this should tell us this is a determinant of what? Of supply. Remember, one of the determinant of supply is the prices of factors of production and other inputs. So you see inputs, this is going to affect what? Your supply curve. And also the determinant of supply, they do what? They shift the supply curve. Only the price will cause a movement along the supply curve. But the determinant, which is the inputs, they will do what? They will shift the supply curve. So they're saying that now a decrease in the input, in the graphics process unit needed to power loan Moore's operating system. Remember, guys, here you should write quantity and then this side you should write price. So if now there's a decrease in the availability of inputs, right, which is used in producing this GPUs, what would happen here? They want us to illustrate here on the graph. So obviously, if there's a remember, if supply is increasing, it increase on this side and it's decrease on this side. So obviously, because now there's a decrease in the inputs, meaning the supply is going to decrease like this, guys. So you also have to draw an arrow to show the decrease like that, right? And then you also now show the new price. You can just use a different color for this. And then you also show that now your quantity has decreased because supply increased from this side. And then the price increased like that. You can just provide figures Just say maybe this is 4, this is 5, this is 20, this is 15. Yeah. And then number 2, they're saying that, okay, I'm going to remove this. I shouldn't have removed the entire graph. That's fine. So let me just do another one here. So this is our supply is, then this is our demand, dim. Then this is the equilibrium price, and this is the equilibrium quantities. Don't forget to write quantity here, and then you write price here. And then now they are, then maybe you can just put any number here. So they're saying a simultaneous increase in general income levels. So income levels are the what, guys? It's a determinant of what? Of demand, right? Which is the is it called a change in income levels or a change in income of consumers? But income is telling you that this is a determinant of what? Of demand, right? So if now there's an increase in the income of households, obviously you know that if our income increase, our demand is going to increase as well. So income also causes what? The determinant of demand will cause a shift in the demand curve. Only the price will cause a what? A movement along the demand curve. So now because there is an increase in the income, demand is going to increase. Remember, it increases on this side and it decreases on this side. So now it's going to increase like this. And then you just draw your arrow here to show that your demand is increasing. And then they also say, and a decrease in the productivity of workers specializing in the production. So obviously you know that this one is a determinant of supply because your workers are what? These are laborers. These are the inputs which are used in the production process, right? So this is a determinant of supply. So if now there's a decrease in the productivity of your workers, what happens to your supply? Your supply will decrease, right? And supply decrease where? On this side. Like if it decreases, it goes where? On the left. But they also say assume the effect on the demand and the supply is equal. So meaning that if it is equal, your quantity demanded will not change, only the price will change. So even if you draw your graph, you should make sure that your quantity demanded does not change, only the price changes. So your supply will shift this side. So this would be your supplies S1, and then this would be your D1. And then you just show by an arrow that your supply is also increasing. And then your quantity demanded, it will not change, but your price will increase, obviously, like that. And then you just show it with an arrow that your price is also what's increasing. And then number 3, an influential marketing campaign promotes the environmental benefit of using AI-powered robots lawn mowers. So let me draw this one on the side. I hope you guys are going to see these. So this is your demand, sorry, this is your supply. And then this is your demand. And then this is your equilibrium price. Then this is your equilibrium quantity. Don't forget to write quantity and then write price here. So they're saying that an influential marketing campaign. So if the so if there was a campaign, I'm sorry guys. So if there was a campaign and this campaign was successful and it was promoting the environmental benefit of using AI, it means that most people who attended this campaign, after this campaign, they would want to use AI-powered robots, right? So the demand for AI-powered robots is going to increase because this campaign was what? Was successful in promoting the environmental benefit of using AI. So the demand is going to what? To increase in this case. So remember, it increases on this side, it decreases on this side. So demand is going to shift like this. And then you just show your arrow to show that the demand is increasing. And then from D to D1, you also label. And then now this is going to be your new quantity. And this is going to be your new price. Also, you draw an arrow like that. You can also provide figures to show that you know what you're doing. And then like that. Yeah. So we're done with question 2. Now let's go to question 3. Okay, so question 3, what is it saying? It's saying that so question 3 saying that suppose the government decides to intervene in a competitive market where consumers are facing abnormally high prices for basic goods and necessities. Already we know that because consumers are facing very high prices and these goods are basic good and they are necessities, if the government were to intervene in these markets, the government will introduce what? A maximum price or a price ceiling. Because remember, let me just I said that a maximum price is there to ensure that even the the people that do not afford are able to purchase those items. And it's usually set on what? On basic food stuff or necessities. So this is your equilibrium price and quantities. So if this is a basic good or a necessity, government will put what? A maximum price or a price ceiling here to say that you must sell this product at any price below this price or at this price, right? So that everyone can afford this product. And I made an example with bread. So they say now illustrate by means of a figure the welfare cost should they decide to implement a maximum price below the current equilibrium price. Obviously, the maximum price has to be below, right? Has to be below the equilibrium price. You see, the equilibrium price is here. Let me just, the equilibrium price is here, right? And the maximum price has to be below because maximum and price ceiling is below. And if they say it's a minimum or price floor, it's above, right? It's just the opposite. I don't know why they do that. So now they're saying that now clearly indicates the area of the dead weight loss. So I did show this. I don't remember, but I think I did on the previous question. But if now you have, okay, let me just go to that graph because I think it's clear. So they want us to show the dead weight loss. Okay, where was it? Okay, it's here. So you can see now that um this is the price ceiling or the maximum price, right? It is below what's the equilibrium price, right? So now they wanted to represent what the dead weight loss. So okay, obviously if now you put the maximum price, you can see that the quantity which is demanded here is going to be greater, 180, than the what, which is here, there's our supply and there's our quantity which is supply, which is 100. So here we're going to have to experience what's a shortage. And then now the dead weight loss is, I did say this, it's going to be this part here. They usually say it's A and B. So this part here, this is your dead weight loss, right? Remember, before this price ceiling, this portion here, okay, let me just remove this. Before this price ceiling, maybe is going to confuse you guys, but I'm just going to say, just in case, like, you get a question like this. So before let's avoid this 35 for now. This maximum price, right? Before this maximum price, this portion here was your what? Was your consumer surplus, right? And this portion here was your what? Was your producer surplus, right? This portion here. But now, because of a price of a maximum price, now this becomes what? Your producer surplus. It decreases, right? And then now this becomes what? Your consumer surplus, right? Increases. So now the dead weight loss is basically this space. I don't know how to, let me just, can I just use a different color to show the dead weight loss? So the dead weight loss will be, did I just confuse people or did I do what? But this would be the dead weight loss, this space here. You know, the space of the consumer surplus, this one which was a consumer surplus, plus this one which was the producer surplus. Now it becomes the dead weight loss because we are producing at this quantity here. We're demanding and supplying at this quantity here. Now it has decreased to this one here. The supply is now here. And then to calculate the deadweight loss, you say that 1/2 times breadth times height. Your breadth being this one here. So you find the difference between 130 and 100. So this one here. Okay, let me just remove this. So let's just say we had to calculate the deadweight loss for this one. So we basically say 130 minus 100, which is 30, right? So let me just write it here. So it has to be 1/2 times width times height. So you can see that you want to say 1/2 times, so your breadth is basically this part here, which is 130 minus 100, and you get what? So you get what? You get 30. You get 30. Then you say the height is this one here, this. The height is this one here, right? So, okay, so there's nothing there. So there's nothing here. Okay, let's just say maybe this is 50. Because if we wanted to calculate the deadweight loss, they will provide you with all the numbers. So if you say 50 minus 40 minus 40, you get 10. So you also say times 10. Then you get what? So if you say 1/28, ish, guys, please forgive me. This is supposed to be 1/2 times 30 times 10. So your dead weight loss is 150. Never heard of a dead weight loss being so huge, but yeah. So now you know how to calculate the dead weight loss. So basically 1/2 times breadth times height. You're basically using the formula of a triangle. So now where were we? Yeah, here. The inflation for marketing campaign, okay, we did this one. So we're done with this one now. We're able to determine the dead weight loss, guys, right? Remember, it's this part here. It's this one. The parts which was the consumer surplus and the one which was the producer surplus, it now becomes the dead weight loss. And then question 4, two competing coffee brands, brew, blend, and coffee lugs are sold in the same market, right? A recent study found that when the price of brew bread increased by 10%, the quantity demanded for cafe lags increased by 15%. Suppose the cross price elasticity coefficient is 1,5. So based on the information, so remember guys, with the cross elasticity of demand, we're saying we're measuring the quantity demanded. We measure the change in the quantity demanded for good A to a change in the price for good B, which that good B is a related good to good A. It might be a complement or it might be a substitute good. So you can see that here we have two coffee brands. So obviously these goods are what? They can be complements or they can be what? They can be substitute goods. One thing which is going to tell us is the cross price elasticity coefficient. So the price elasticity is 1,5, right? And also we have something like this for cross elasticity of demand as well. Where now here we have 1 and we have, sorry, no, this side we have negative and this side we have positive. So we say that if now the product that you are the price or the cross elasticity of demand for the product is positive, then this product is a what? It is substitute. We have S on this side. And then if it is negative, then it is our C. It's a complement. So you can see this side we have what? 1,5. So they ask us, based on the information provided, interpret the coefficient and identify what type of good these two coefficient branes are. So the coefficient is 1,5, meaning that this good has a what? 1,5 is greater than 1. So it has an elastic price elasticity of demand. And because it is positive, then it is a what? It's a substitute good. So the quantity, the cafe is a substitute good to brew blend. It's a substitute to brew blend. Obviously, it's 1 mark. So even if you just say substitute. So did you guys get that? Now read the scenario and answer the questions that follow. So they're saying here, suppose life-saving medication is prescribed to patients with a rare condition. Regardless of any price changes, the quantity demanded remains the same. So this is the medication. So regardless of any price changes, the quantity demanded remains the same. So this is telling us that this graph looks something like this, right? Which means it has a perfectly inelastic demand because they're saying that regardless of any price, so regardless of any price change, the quantity demanded remains the same. So it remains the same like this. And they also told us, because this is what medication. We know that necessities, the consumers are not reactive to a change in the price because they need that medication. So whether the price increases, they will still demand the same quantity, right? Then they continue to say, what is the value of the price elasticity of demand in this scenario? So you know that this one, the price elasticity of demand for perfectly inelastic good is equal to 0, right? Remember from this table, guys, where here you have your 0, here you have your 1, and then here you have infinity. So infinity, we say this one is perfectly elastic, and then here we have elastic, then here we have unitary elastic, then here we have inelastic, then here we have perfectly inelastic. So this word has a what? Perfectly inelastic demand because the EP elasticity of the price elasticity of demand is what? Is equal to 0. And it's also medication. Medication was a giveaway. Number 4.3, they say, explain what the coefficient in question 4.2 indicates about consumer responsiveness to a price change. So obviously this coefficient, it basically explains that the consumers do not react to a change in the price here. Regardless of, basically you're going to say this, what they're saying here, regardless of any change in the price, the quantity demanded will remain the same. So for producers to increase revenue here, they'll just have to increase the price. Now let's continue. I hope you guys got that one. And then in the same village, there are 100 small dairy farmers who sell milk to the residents in the village. The supply function of the milk by each dairy farmer is given by quantity supplied is minus 350 plus 75p, where the quantity supply of milk in liters, and P is the price of milk per liter. The market demand for milk by the resident in the village is given by quantity demand is equal to 900 minus 50p. Find the equilibrium price and the price and the quantity of milk. So you know that I'm just gonna write here. Okay, let me just put it here. You know that to calculate the in an equilibrium, your quantity demanded is equal to your quantity supplied at equilibrium, right? And then now you just, how can I reduce the font? Ish. And then now you given the formula for quantity demanded. So you basically just have to equate these equation. So quantity demanded is given by 900 minus 50p equals to minus negative 350 plus, okay, plus 75p, right? So you're basically going to transpose. So you're going to say 900 transpose have 150. So 150 this side is negative. Sorry, 350 this side is negative. So if you bring it this side, it's going to be positive. So it's going to be plus. So now let me just transfer the piece. It's going to be negative negative 50p. Then you transpose 75. So it's going to be, because it's positive on this side, it's going to be negative. It's going to be negative 75 e equals to, and then negative 350. Then your 900 is negative, is positive on this side. If you bring it on that side, it's going to be positive. So plus 900. So now if you say negative 50 minus 75, you get what? Okay, let me punch in my calculator, but I think I wrote this somewhere. Okay, let me just say negative 50 minus 75, you're getting negative 125. So it's going to be negative 125p equals to negative 350 plus 900. Negative 350 plus 900 is going to be 550. And then now you're just going to say, now you're going to divide by 101, negative 125 on both sides. So this side, you're going to say negative 125p divided by negative 125. So you're going to be left with p. Ish. So you're going to be left with p equals to, then on this side, you're going to say 550 divided by negative 125. No, I think there's an error somewhere. So let me say negative 350 plus 900. It's positive 550. If you say negative 50 minus 75, you get negative 125. 550 divided by negative 125, get, no, you're supposed to have a positive answer. So let me just start from here. So we had 900 minus 50p equals to negative 350 plus 75. So we said negative 50p, and then we took 75 to the side. So negative 50 minus, so negative 50 minus 75, you're getting what? Negative 125. Then on this side, you have negative, yes, this one is supposed to be minus. You see, guys, if you were here, you're going to help me. So this one is negative. Because you can see that, guys, here, your 900 is positive on that side. So obviously, if it goes to that side, it's going to be, it's positive, right? So if it goes to this side, it's going to be negative. It's going to be negative 900. So negative 350 minus 900, you get what? You get negative, so you get negative 1250. So I hope you guys are calculating with me, so that if I make mistake, at least you can correct me on the comment section. And then after this, now you're going to say negative 125, because you want to calculate for P, right? P, which is your price. So you're going to say negative 125 P divided by negative 125. Then you're going to get P. Then on this side, you're going to say negative 1250 divided by negative 125. Then you're going to get what? 10. So your price is what? Is 10. Then they say because they want your price and the quantity. So now you're going to find the quantity. So for quantity demanded, you're basically going to use the formula. And then for quantity demanded, they say that it is 900 minus 50. Then for in place of P, you're going to substitute your price, right? And then what do you get here? You get you get 400. And then also for quantity supplied, it is equal to now negative. The answer you get here should be the same. If it's not the same, then that is how you know that you made a mistake, because at equilibrium, the price is equal to the quantity demand is equal to the quantity supplied. So 75. Then in place of P, we just substitute 10, right? 10. And then your answer is what? So you're getting what? Is it 400 or 4,000? Because 900 minus 50 into 10. Yeah, it's 400. So now you're done, right? So this graph looks something like this. So this is your demand, this is your supply. Why is it like that? So this is the quantity, this is the price at equilibrium, this is the demand. So you know that here you have you have 400. You have 400, and then here you have 10. The price is 10. Right. And they continue to say if the government in this small village decides to fix the price at 12 Rand per liter, calculate the size of the difference in quantity demanded and quantity supplied at this price. What will be the results of this government intervention? So if the government was to intervene here and do what? And set the price at what? Um, at 12 Rand. So 12 is above 10. So the government will set the price floor or the what? Um, this is called the price floor or the minimum price of what? Of 12 Rand. Now you have to decide what would happen if the government does this. So you can see now that your quantity, so this is supply, sorry, this is demand, and this is supply. So you can see now that your quantities demanded will decrease and your quantities supplied will do what? Will increase, meaning that there is going to be what? An excess supply because more is being supplied here and less is being demanded here. Now we just have to find out what will be the excess. So we have to find the quantity which will be supplied and the quantity which will be demanded. So we're still going to use the same formulas. So what we just do now is basically we substitute. So we're going to say quantity demanded is equal to 900 minus 50. And then in place of P, because now we have a new price of 12 and we're just going to substitute 12, right? 12. And then now, so for quantity demanded, it's going to be what? It's going to be 300. And then for quantity supplied, also do the same thing. So the formula is negative 350 plus 75 plus 75. And then you just substitute the price of 12. And then, but you get 550. So you can see now that when the government has introduced um, a price floor here, or the minimum price, there's going to be, ish, I want to get my pen. So there's going to be what? There's going to be an excess supply because more a surplus basically in supply because more is being supplied. So the supply is what? It's 550. So 550 is here. 5. This is 550, guys, And then here you're going to have 300, which is the quantity which is demanded. So you can just calculate and say that there's going to be an excess supply of, you say 550 minus 300, and then you get what? Let me just say 250. So there's going to be an excess supply of, or a surplus of 250 in the market if the government intervene and introduces a price, a minimum price or a price flow of 12 Rand, right? Yeah. So the important thing is to be able to calculate and use these formulas. So now let's continue. So that was what? That was 1.2. Number question 2, suppose the price of Leon steak increase from 150 to 200 per kilogram. Due to the increase in price, the quantity demanded for steak decreased from 160 kilogram to 140 kilograms per day. So you can see that I've already said, okay, this is going to be my price 1, this is my price 2, right? Because the price increased from 150 to 200. So this is P1, this is P2. And then the demand decreased from 1,600 to 1,400. So this is Q1, this is Q2. Then they say now, by making use of the midpoint arc formula, calculate the price elasticity of demand for silicon steel stake. Round your answer into two decimal places. So you know the formula to calculate the formula for a midpoint formula. That is basically now where we say with you yeah, where we say Q1 oh sorry Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 plus Q2, all of this divided by P2 minus P1 divided by P1 plus P2. So this is how you use the the midpoint or arc formula. So this is divided by, so basically say Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 plus Q2, all of this divided by P2 minus P1 divided by P1 plus P2. So now we told that, let me just continue here. So the price, the quantity was 150. It moved from 150 to 200. So our Q2 is 200. So you're going to say 200 minus 150 divided by 150, which is Q2, plus 200, which is 150, which is Q1, plus 200, which is Q2. So Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 plus Q2 all over. Now the price went from 1,600 to 1,400. So you're going to say P2, which is 1,400, minus P1, which is 1,600, divided by P1, which is 1,600, plus your P2, which is 1,400. Close your bracket. Then you get your answer. So let me just we're gonna get 0,47, right? Are you getting a negative 0,47 or right? Let me just calculate this as well. So it's divided by 150 plus 200 divided by 1400 minus 1600 divided by 1600 plus 1400. You get, yeah, you're getting a negative. Why am I getting a negative 2? You see it here, the quantity of stake decreased from 116 to 100. So this is Q2. Oh, I started with the price. Now I have to cancel all of this. Hey, now, but you guys can see, man, that I made a mistake. Do I really have to do this? Okay, so the quantity, I divided by the quantity. I had to divide by the price. So what is in the numerator is the quantity. So it has to be, I'm supposed to say 1,400 minus 1,600. And then 1,600 plus 4,000. And then now you divide Then you're gonna divide by P2, which is 200, and then minus P1, which is 150, then divided by 150, which is P1 plus your plus P2, which is 200. And then you get your answer. Okay, so you're gonna get a negative number. You're gonna get negative 0.4, right? And then for 7, because it's 0.66, so it's gonna be 0.7. And because we're using the absolute values, this is going to be 0.4, right? Especially when we what are we calculating here? It's just a price elasticity of demand. So when you're calculating a price elasticity of demand, you use absolute values, meaning that if you get your number to be negative, you do this, you do this. Okay, so this one is supposed to be divided by here. To get your number to be negative, you just do these things, and then this becomes your final answer. This is the one you're going to interpret if they ask you to interpret, not this one. When you're asked to calculate the price elasticity of demand, right? But if it's the cross elasticity of demand, you just leave it here. Because remember, when you're doing the cross elasticity of demand, if it is negative, it means something. It means those goods are what? A complement. If it's positive, it means those goods are what? A substitute. So if you choose to calculate the cross elasticity of demand, then you just leave it here. But now because it's price elasticity of demand, you take the absolute value. Then they say now, if you are a producer of silicon stick and wanted to increase your total revenue, what pricing strategy would you follow? So you can see this good has an elastic demand of 0.4, meaning that from our table here, so our 0 is here, our 1 is here. So 0.4 is between 0 and 1. So this good has a what's an I here, right? Which is what's an inelastic demand, meaning that for for producer here to increase the revenue, the consumer would have to do what to increase the price, because as much as consumers do react to price changes, but they are not that sensitive to a change in price. And remember, I did say with inelastic, it's like this. It is closer to the y-axis. And if you okay, so if the price was here, if the producer were to increase the price by a greater percentage, you'll see that the quantity will decrease as much as it will decrease, but it will decrease with a smaller percentage compared to the increase in the price. So for the producer to increase the revenue for a good with an inelastic demand, they would have to increase the price. Right. Okay, so we're done here. Okay, we almost done, guys. We're almost done. So question 3. Okay, so it's saying that the average monthly income of households. Okay, you see income now, you just know that we're going to calculate income elasticity of demand. And one of the things you have to know for income is that if you get your answer, okay, so here we have 0, and then here we have 1. Here we have 1, and then this side we have infinity. Okay, now let me just, yeah, this is where, let me just do this. So let me just say we have 1 here, and then, so this is 1, and then this is infinity, right? So for income elasticity, you must know that obviously here we have positive because it's greater than 0. So these numbers this side are positive, and this side these numbers are what are negative. So if you get your answer to be negative, it means that good is an inferior good, right? IN for inferior good. But if your answer is positive, it means that good is a normal good. And normal goods are differentiated into two types. We have normal necessity. So necessity is here, where now the your answer you get is positive, meaning that it's a normal good, but then it is between 0 and 1. So it's a necessity. But if it's greater than 1, it's a luxury good, right? It's a luxury. So yeah, let me just read here what they're saying. The average monthly income of household in a small community increased from 4,000 to 4,500 per month, right? So this is income Y. Income is noted by Y in economics. So this is income one, this is income two. As a result, the quantity demanded for Nando's chicken burger increased from 300 to 500. This is Q1 to Q2. And the quantity demanded for brown bread decreased from 1,200 to 800. So this is Q1, this is Q2. Then they're saying that now use the midpoint to arc formula, which is the one that we're using here to calculate the income elasticity of demand for Nando's chicken burgers. Based on your calculation, what type of product is the Nando's chicken in this community? So you're going to do the same thing. Use the formula that we're using. Okay, I'm not going to write the formula because at this point you know the formula. So it says Q2 minus Q1. So we're calculating for Nando's chicken, right? So Nando's chicken is here. So Q2 is 500. So 500 minus Q1, which is what? Which is 300. Let me just confirm. So Nando's chicken here. And then divided by Q1, which is 300, plus Q2, which is 500, divided by P1. P1 is what? It's 4,000. No, P2, 4,500. You start with P2, then you minus P1, which is 4,000. Then divided by P1, which is 4,000, plus P2, which is 4,500. Then equals to, what do you get? Let me just check here, because what did I get? 4,25, 4,25. I would appreciate it if you guys are also calculating, because I have a problem with making mistakes. So yeah, so this is 4,25. And then now you're asked to say what type of product is this? What type of product is Nando's chicken burger in this community? So you can see now, because we're dealing with the income elasticity here of demand. If the answer is positive, this is a normal good, right? So this is a normal. What type of product? What type of product? It's a normal good. Right. And then what type of normal good? Because this 4,25 is greater than 1, right? This 4,25 is here, it's greater than 1. So it's a normal luxury good. So you just write Ruti, Nando's chicken burger. Nando's chicken burger is a normal luxury good. And then what does normal goods tell you? It tells you that when the price increase of this product, no, when the income increase, when the income increase, the quantity demanded will increase. Obvious, guys, when we get our allowances, right, we rush to purchase Nando's chicken or chicken burgers. Yeah. But we run to the restaurant basically when our income increases. That is why this one is a normal good. So normal goods, basically I said those are goods that when your income increase, the demand for those goods also increase, right? So Nando's chicken has a price elastic of demand which is 4,5, 4,25, meaning that this is a normal luxury good, which means that when the income increase, the quantity demanded will also increase. Then number two, but to use the midpoint or arc to calculate the income elasticity demanded of brown bread. Based on your calculation, what type of product is this bread? So same thing that you do, I'm going to do it on this side. So brown bread is the quantity demanded is decreased from 1,200 to 800, right? So it decreased from 1,200 to what? To 800. So you're going to say 1,200, no, Q2, which is 800, minus Q1, which is 1,200, divided by Q2, which is 1,000, sorry, Q1 plus Q2, which is 800, divided by P, which is 4,500, minus 4,000, divided by 4,000 plus 4,500. Then you're gonna calculate, then you would get 800 minus 1.2, 1.2 plus 800, 4,500 minus 4,000, 4,000 plus, then you get what? 3,4, 3,41. I didn't calculate this one. I'm just looking at it from the answers I wrote here. So I think this maybe is correct. Let me just calculate. Yo, guys. Yeah, it's correct. So you're getting 3,4, negative 3,4. You're getting negative 3,4. So negative, this, your answer is negative, right? So this is telling you that this is a what? An inferior good. So brown bread is an inferior good. Okay, this is true, guys. It is an inferior good. If our income increases, who runs to buy brown bread? Like, I don't think most people do that. Maybe only the people that love brown bread. But most people, I don't think they do that. So yeah, it makes sense. This one is an inferior good. Now let's continue. Complete the table below. Okay, so this one we can't do it because we don't have the thingy. Remember, we submitted the that worksheet, which is yeah, that one that we had to complete along with the answer sheet. So I can't really do this one. But if you have any questions regarding this part, question 4, that you would like for me to do, you can just send that question on the group, and then I'd make a video for everyone to see. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching my video and good luck.